this guest on. I forgot where I first heard this song, but you've heard it because we play it here a lot. And we need to take an extra long top of the hour or whatever. We throw a Bubba song, and the song is called "Sad Little Man." And will you? I don't know if I can put him on over here. It's Brad. I want to make sure I say your last name right. I'm going to take a stab at it. You can tell me which way. Brad Skistimus.
Skistimus, yeah.
Skistimus. Close. All right. How are you, man? I appreciate your time today. What's happening?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for playing the song. Appreciate it.
Some things I don't know about you that I'd like to know. One is, how old are you, if you don't mind?
38.
Okay. 38. And are you a family guy?
Yeah, I got 3 kids and been married since 2007.
All right, and you've kind of been lauded as the kind of do-it-yourself guy. You were the first completely unsigned act to be sold in Walmart and other places with your album, The Independent. Are you a completely solo act?
Yeah, for the most of my bulk of my career, I've been completely independent, solo. The band name came from my last name, Skistimus. I didn't want to promote Brad Skistimus, so I came up with a band name based on my birthday, August 5th, and thought that sounded cool, and it stuck with me all these years, and here we are, still here, yeah.
This Brad and the Schismatics didn't sound like something you wanted to run with. This is it's a kind of a new and interesting genre that's, especially to people that are conservatives, is this protest music you normally hear is normally buried most of the time in popular rock music or it's just straight up folk singing, protest song, but they're usually from the left. Protest songs from the right are a bit unusual. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's really strange. I mean, that was a lot of the music that I grew up with was rebellious 60s rock music. And, the deeper we got into the pandemic, I was like, is nobody going to speak up about what's happening? And I was waiting for all my heroes to say something, some sort of put out some music. And, Eric Clapton and Van Morrison have released a few songs.
Yeah, and everyone, all their musician friends have dropped them like hot potatoes. I mean, you had, who's the guitarist, the blues guitarist was going to open for him, and he said, sorry, because of your views about this and that, blah, 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 I'm not going to open for you.
Yeah, you're seeing more so that instead of speaking up, they're just sort of falling in line with everything, which is crazy. I mean, I'm not really necessarily a rebellious guy. I never fell into sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle. So I wouldn't have ever considered myself the dangerous protest singer-songwriter kind of guy, but here I am. And it's ironic because I'm not really saying anything different than what was in the 60s.
Right. Yeah. You're just talking about freedom, basically, right?
Right.
Is it more just the COVID stuff, the COVID regulations and mandates and blah, 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 and vax this and vax that and booster, or is it this administration as a whole? I know you have a great song where you've redone, what's the name of the song? Where are you going with that gun in your hand? Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe, yeah.
Right. Hey, Joe, right.
What I'm getting at is, are you a conservative guy? Are you not? Are you a middle of the road guy politically, or does it even matter to you?
Well, I mean, I raised here in Texas. I have conservative roots, and I've always sort of had that sort of moral backbone.
Hold the phone here. I know you're from Texas. Where about in Texas?
I'm from a little bit south of Dallas.
All right, I was born and raised in Dallas. Those are my people.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So,
well, there we go. Yeah, I had always sort of behaved myself politically because I work in such a liberal industry.
Right.
And, it's funny because, I made friends with people on both sides of the aisles. I just wanted people to get along for so long and kind of kept my views to myself. But we reached a point at the end of last year where I felt like I couldn't stay quiet any longer. And this is not the place that I want to leave behind for my kids. So I did not want to look back on this time and feel like I didn't speak up.
Wow. That's awesome. Have you suffered what the cancel culture that normally people do when they come out of the closet as a conservative?
Yeah, a little bit in the beginning, because I've been making music for 20 years. So I have 2 decades worth of fans from all different kinds of projects that I've done. And I kind of kept pretty vague on things over the years, but once I spoke up, the hate messages started coming in, and I'm going to delete your music. But what happened was I started, that was very short-lived, and what happened was a lot more people were writing me, thanking me for these songs, and that was really encouraging because it spoke a lot about, what's the underbelly of what you're, what's being hidden by the mainstream narrative is that, I really feel like, what I'm saying in these songs is how the majority of people feel, not the minority, but the majority.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And, and what do you care if someone cancels your music, I mean, honestly.
Right. Yeah. And at that point too, it's like, if you're going to cancel me in my music because we disagree on something, you better go through all of your CDs and all of your music and all of your movies and every entertainment. Like, when does it end? If I had, all my heroes, I didn't align with everything that they believed in musically, but you appreciate the music and what they're doing. So it is what it is.
Right. So when, in terms of you, do you perform live a lot or obviously during the pandemic, probably not. Has it gotten back to where you, is that the main part of your, the way you make your income, or is it recordings and doing commercials and things like that?
Right now, it's a lot of online work. I have been doing more live shows this year than last year, but they're kind of new shows for me. I'm playing at protests and rallies and performing on Capitol building steps, which is something I never even dreamed I'd be doing, but it's pretty cool. But I'd like to get back out on the road and do some more touring next year and bring these songs to people and have concerts that don't segregate anybody and have real shows again. I'm just kind of flabbergasted that there's so many musicians that are out there doing that, pulling stunts like that, when a concert's supposed to be a uniting experience for everybody.
Yeah, it did hurt my heart when I heard all these bands that were doing vaccine-only things. But a lot of made a statement and saying, I'm not going to play anywhere where there is a mandate for vaccines or so, that's refreshing. I worry. Do you worry about your personal safety? Because Anthony Fauci is literally worshipped like a deity. And if you watch Kimmel last night, he's hating on it. He can bash on Trump for 5 years and say horrible things about him and his family, but don't you dare be critical of Dr. Fauci. I mean, he seems to be, or he was, I don't know. I think his popularity is waning quite a bit, but he seems to be someone who the liberal people want to protect. They buy the pillow with his face on it, or they have a shirt that says "I heart Fauci" on it. I mean, and you've really taken one of their heroes to task. You're not worried about that at all?
Well, of course I do. I mean, that's a scary thing, but I mean, the guy's power has gone unquestioned for 2 years, and he's on the news the other day still telling you it's too early to tell. It's too early to make predictions or expect the worst. And it's like, somebody, the point of my song is just somebody needs to bring him down a tick. And, I don't know. I haven't received any super bad messages, actually. Good. From the video, which is nice, but of course it's still a little scary. I know YouTube is protecting him because they're trying to suppress my video.
Really?
And that's been the battle over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, they removed the video from the search results for several days.
I'm trying to remember all the lyrics of that song. Is there anything out there that they could say would be misinformation?
Well, that's the funny thing is they flagged it as medical misinformation, and I've had back and forth with them for 3 weeks asking what specifically is the medical misinformation. I don't even say Dr. Fauci's name in the song.
Right.
So they are. It's clear bias, and they're attacking art at this point. It's a song. It's a perspective through art, and they're interpreting it one way and labeling it medical misinformation. But I've had all my correspondence, I post it publicly on Twitter because I want people to see the blatant hypocrisy and suppression that happens, because they will not give me an answer as to what the medical misinformation is. They are just saying it's medical misinformation.
Yeah, that's the way they do it. when you people that get upset with you and they mother f you and say they're going to delete your music, well, I don't know why that would hurt your feelings. Didn't they already buy it? I mean, feel free.
Right.
But it's alarming to me when we talk about protest songs and we talk about the 60s or 70s or whatever era, those protest songs were always against the man, always against the big government, always, it seemed to be in that all in that kind of genre. But now it's like, hey, stop talking about the man. People are like, hey, don't talk about Fauci and believe the government and trust what these people tell you. Trust everything. Believe the narrative. Do what they say. Put on a mask. It's like the world has flipped, and here you come to do a protest song against that, and now you're the bad guy or the good guy in a lot of people's eyes.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy because that's the general consensus forever was like, don't trust the government, don't trust what you see on TV, don't trust the media. And within several years, it just flipped on its head. It's like, no, why would they lie to us?
Right.
Yeah. And you're like,
why would they lie to us? They're here to protect us.
Right. What happened? I don't know.
The guy has been around.
I feel like
he's been around since Reagan. That alone must.
Right.
I mean, good Lord, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the world
sort of
has flipped.
And it's sort of the same thing with Joe Biden. Everybody thinks he's going to fix things. He's been around 50 years, half a century, and it's like, no, now he's going to do it. Now he's going to do everything he needed to do, and it's all backwards, just like you said.
It really is, and I hate to suggest any lyrics. We have a musician here, or a song that I suggest songs to all the time, but his are dopey satire songs. But I meant that in a great way, Baba. I meant that in a nice way. But I think slowly people are seeing. You realize that you may have not liked Orange Man, but because he was mean on Twitter, but his policies were a slam dunk. And instantly, when this administration comes and flips 2 or 3 of them, 4 or 5 of them, and bingo, gas prices shoot up because you've limited drilling and canceled leases in the Gulf and all of these things and cut up a pipeline, and the border's a mess because you did this. I mean, literally, there's 2 or 3 things that he did to turn this into a mess, and there's 2 or 3 things he could do to get it back to normal. But I think I try to point that out to people all the time, especially my liberal family members, that, but I find they're very desperate at trying to defend this administration, which has got to be a very difficult thing. Any more songs coming?
Yeah, any more songs? Oh, yeah, for sure. There's plenty to write about right now. It seems like the news, they just keep dumping whatever they can on us every day.
Yeah.
And, I'll just keep writing them as I see fit. I certainly didn't expect any of these songs really to reach as far as they have, but they've connected with people all around the world. And like I said earlier, I just think that speaks volumes about what the true nature of what's happening is going on out there. I think people are tired of it, and I think people want something real. And I plan to keep at least trying to deliver that through my music.
I bet you're popular in Australia right now.
Yeah, some of those messages you hear. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done in Australia.
Yeah,
it's we've learned nothing from history.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hey, I have some other co-hosts here that might want to ask you a question. Rosie, you have a question for Brad?
I have been saying this for a while. I saw this coming around, like when this all started. I said, oh wait, there's going to be they create a problem and then they create the solution for you, and it's you're going to get this shot. And then I was like, okay, I'll just take one. And I've talked to so many people that they're like, okay, I did it, I did this, and I said, oh no, now you're going to have to take it again and again. They just finally come out today. Fauci has said now you're going to need to do it every year. How long ago did you have the same realization when you wrote that line, 1 shot, 2 shot, now you get a 3rd?
Yeah, I mean, I caught on pretty quick early on. I think that, at the beginning of the pandemic, you got the best you were ever going to get out of people. And the longer it went, the more inconsistent all the regulations seemed, and you see all these people making the rules and not following them. You just sort of caught on. But you're right. I have a song called Silent War, and there's a line in there that says, now someone is trying to sell you the cure, the same one who made the disease. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is they're creating more problems for themselves to solve, and it's just a big feedback loop of problem, and then here's solution. But they're not really solving any problems. It's just one problem on top of the other.
So you wrote this one.
Fall in line.
You're right. You wrote this one in 2020, like early, or
no? All these songs have come out this year.
Okay, so you wrote that in 21.
The series of songs that I've released this year, these sort of protest songs, began in January with a song called "God Help Us All," and it really resonated with people. And that was like a risky thing for me early on because I had never spoken out through my music like this. And like I said, I lost some people, but I've gained way more support than I ever could have imagined from that.
Right, this is Jeff.
Hey, it's we've been talking back and forth in email. Isn't it nice that you have the creative outlet now where you don't have to really rely on a label where I'm sure you've had the A&R meetings before where they say, hey, we need to hear another song, one more song. You kind of have your own destiny in your hands now. You're able to do what you love to do and get it out to people. When you were in a previous band, did you ever experience the label stuff?
Yeah, I was meeting with record labels around 2006, 7, and 8, and I always have sort of sat on the outskirts of the mainstream major record label industry, peering in as an independent artist, and there were times where I felt like maybe I missed an opportunity by turning down those labels. But I feel like at this point, everything that's ever happened in my career has led me to this unique position where I can say whatever I want. And, you wonder why all these other people aren't speaking out in the mainstream on the mainstream platforms is because they have, managers and record labels, and they have lawyers and PR people, and it's a machine behind them. I don't have that machine. It's just me speaking whatever I want to speak, and then people taking that and sharing it, which is incredibly cool because it's such a traditional grassroots way of music spreading.
Definitely.
It's people sharing it because it means something. It's not just because it was put on the radio.
Are you worried
That's pretty neat.
Is it getting airplay on other stations?
Yeah, it's interesting to see what each song does. But with Sad Little Man, it reached Glenn Beck on his show, and he played it last 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So there's some great great people playing it on their show, sharing the videos. I do hear about various radio stations from time to time, which is even cooler because I've played that game too with my older music. It was sort of pay to play, and it's very hard to get in on traditional playlists on radio. So that's another great thing. That's why I'm so appreciative of you guys playing the songs, because it's, you're doing it because you want to do it, not because I'm sending you a check or something.
Right. We do it because I love it. We like it, and our audience really likes it. Does it worry you that you're so high on like Amazon and Apple Music charts, that at some point that all of this will be deemed harmful or hurtful or whatever they use, and it could reduce your exposure?
Well, like I said, with YouTube, they're already doing that. They're trying to hide it. Once it was on Glenn Beck's show, my views started skyrocketing on YouTube, and they hid the video from search results, and then they demonetized it. And so I haven't really made any money off of the video because I can't, because they suppress it. But thankfully, people are supporting it through Amazon and Apple Music. And the great thing is, again, like, it's up there with Adele and Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran, these people with massive machines, behind them. And this is the power of the movement of people actually voting with their dollars is, if you want this message out there, here's a way to do it. And look what everybody's done. Like, I'm just amazed every day just seeing it, reach. It's on like #1 on Amazon singer-songwriter and alternative charts. It reached #1 last week on Apple's singer-songwriter charts, and it's been getting up there, and it's just incredible to see. And there's other artists too that are doing that. We had Bryson Gray's "Let's Go Brandon" beat out Adele a few weeks ago, and that's awesome. That's the power of the movement. Just it's a real thing, and it's hard to deny it when those things happen.
Are you on Rumble, Brad? That's the place to be.
Yeah, I'm on Rumble and Odyssey, BitChute, Gab. I put my videos on there as well. But I sort of embrace the battle with YouTube because it kind of clearly paints the picture of the hypocrisy and the blatant suppression and censorship. And I'm trying to change minds and hearts out there. So I'm hoping that, some of these videos reach opposing viewpoints, but they actually consider it.
Right.
Hard to do these days.
It sure is.
But,
You can. It's a lot more difficult. It's easier to fool somebody than it is to convince them they've been fooled. Brad Skistimus.
Right.
I'm hoping I said it right. Skistimus.
That's right. You got it.
The band is, or the name of his band, it's just him, is 5 Times August, and we share it here all the time. We play it all the time, and we'll continue to do so. So we're up on a break, but I want to thank you for your time, and thanks for the music, Brad. Keep it coming, man.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, appreciate it. See ya.
Thank
there you go. Can you take that? Brad Skistimus. What a great guy. That's pretty brave stuff, What do you say, Bubba?
How you pronounce his name?
Skistimus.
Skiff.
Skistimus.